Greetings, Minecrafters! Nonsanity here, and welcome to another episode of All the Mods 9 to the Skies. This is the episode where I sort of take some side tracks away from working on our chest over here, where we just have a few things left. I might get to some of those. But first, we're going to do some of the extra stuff as sort of a replacement for fighting the Chaos Guardian. Since last episode hello Rain. Last episode we brought in the Chaos Shards and did the bee. So let's do some other miscellaneous things that are not on the normal schedule and experiment. And one of the things I was thinking was that I sort of want to put everything into hyperboxes. So I can put all that into Hyperbox. I can put this. I can put these miscellaneous things. I have a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, like the fishing pond, which I really don't need to keep going. How's that doing? Got 3 million cod, 4,000 antique inks, 34,000 name tags, and got a lot of spell books here too. That one's full, almost. Not sure what'll happen if it fills. Maybe we should just turn this off now. Is there this? This is water, and I'm standing on it. Oh, that must be a feature of this armor. I can walk on water. But if I crouch, I go down. Alright, so let's just turn this off for now. And I'll pick it up later. I picked up some of the stuff that's here, some of this miscellaneous thing. Just move some of this into hyperboxes. And then there's this. This thing has the delightful dirt in it. And if we run over here, I made a hyperbox to put the barn into. Here's the barn. It's a slightly different version since I built it again. But as you can see, the delightful dirt doesn't work in here. Now, I had already tested this before I built the barn outside, as I said in the episode where I show you the barn. And the reason is, if you can see up in the mini-map there in the corner, it says Biome Hyperbox Hyperbox. So the biome here is custom. And while the dirt is running, you see it's growing grass, and we're getting plenty of grass seeds and flowers and such. It will not create any mobs. There is a solution for that, though. And if we come out over here, get a ritual, a source jar, let's get a full one, and make a tablet of Conjure Islands Plains, which is cheap to make. Pop this down, that down, whack it. If we go down here underneath, you can see it's loading in grass. So it is building an island. Oh, and look, we got animals because we're now in the plains. And that is done. We can pick it up. And I got picked up by the magnet over here. So that's a way we can move this into a hyperbox. But before I did that, I was thinking, all right, if the hyperbox doesn't have the right biome, and I hadn't quite thought of the using the ritual to change the biome, maybe we can make a different virtual space for this thing to live in. So let's still do that because it's sort of interesting. We're going to use Spatial Storage from Applied Energistics. I'm going to I guess I'll just start placing some of these pylons. The pylons, let's do 2 under. They like to be in straight lines. If you put them in anything other than a straight line, they break as far as the connected textures go. And I'm going to bring that up to equal in height with the weather vane there. And just for convenience sake, I'm going to place this spatial I/O port on top. This is the main controller for what we're going to do. And now I want to take off my pants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then over here, whoop, crouch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now I've placed 16 in either of those two directions, but it only says 15 here. Why is that? Well, they're defining a space, and that space happens to be completely inside these 3 arms. Up here where my head is not within all 3 arms. I'm sort of in the wall here. Imagine there's a solid wall filling in the spaces. You know, like down in here. This is like pretend this is a wall. Everything inside the walls is what we're going to be moving. And that includes the last space. Technically, I am in the wall here. So if I move over 1 block, now I'm inside. So this last one doesn't count. So to get 16 on the inside, I need 17 long arms. And you know, I want to make it a little higher. So let's go 2 more and then place that there. There we go. There we go. That's 17. If we look here, it says 16 by 16 by 14, so we can add 2 more to the bottom. There we go. So that is 16 by 16 by 16. And why did I want that size? Because that is the size of the storage cell I made, 16 by 16 by 16. It can be smaller. And I do want to say that once you've used a disk for something, for any size, it is forever that size. You cannot put a new copy into it of a different size. So by making it all 16, it just makes it a little bit easier. Though it does require more power. I happen to know that if it was 16 by 12 or 16 by 13 by 15, it would be half as much power. So getting those last few steps up to 16s, that's 618 million AE. And it needs that, I think, instantly. It needs to be stored. Which means, and this is going to be its own network, so I'm going to put a controller here. We need to have power. These are super dense energy cells. These are 8 of the regular dense, and those are 8 of the regular energy cells. So it's a whole lot of power storage, and the 8 of those gives us just 100. And I need 6 times as much. That's a lot of batteries, and these things are expensive to make. You could do that, though. Instead, you can use more spatial pylons. Now, I think these pylons will pass channels, but I think only 4. Because if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, I can put, whoop, not there, that breaks it. And there has to be at least 2, so it knows which direction. So if I do that, they're all powered up. But if I do one more down here, whoop, it does not like that one. That one is missing its channel. So while that one's got the lines showing that it's got a channel, this one does not. So I think the pylons can only pass 4 channels. Now, out of curiosity, I wouldn't set it up like this, but yeah, that's allowed. Okay. So yeah, each pylon can only pass 4. But it doesn't matter how many of these blocks in a row you want to use. It's just how many, because it just uses 1 channel. This entire row uses 1 channel. So for each one of these blocks we add around our structure, that's all I got at the moment. It lowers the, all right, now it only is 245. That's still more than twice what it takes. So I need to get more pylons, which I've got plenty. So let's finish this out. So there's all those. How we doing? All right, we still need more. So what I'm going to do is bring down a dense cable. Actually, let's do this in a slightly different way. No connections. All right, I can mine that one like so. Let's come out and go down the diagonal like this. So now I'm going to have, see, this one probably won't let me, because that's, oh, it does. All right, that's odd. Maybe it's a certain distance that it can do them, because that's another channel on the same pylon. Let's see how many it can do. Aha! But if I just come way down here, does not. Okay, so it's a distance. They can only work a certain distance away from the start. Though I'm sure it's also limited by 8. Yeah, that one doesn't have any more. Because coming into here, this block acts as a regular cable, so it can pass 8. It's 1 to that line, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9. Oh, no, 2 of these have come off. All right, so now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then itself, 8. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll keep those. All right, so these will just run, let's see, if I get a, if I put that there, I wonder what will happen. Ah, okay. That injects some more channels farther down. Interesting. And down here? Yep, it's happy too. All right, I'll just keep adding more and see what happens. It's definitely a little bit different than normal channel operations. Huh. This is why we experiment. All right, that one's out. What if I put... All right, that's added some more down here. Let's finish off all the rows that I've got started and see how that does for power consumption. We want to increase the efficiency. Let's see, it's there, there. probably going to... No, I'll still have some extras left over. But these are a lot cheaper to make. What is the recipe for these? Yeah, just some quartz glass, quartz fiber, fluix. With our resources, that costs nothing. I mean, technically, even the batteries don't cost as much. All right, so we've got 100 in the power from the batteries. How much is this going to take? 41. Efficiency of 64%. So we now have enough power online to operate. So I'm just going to put the switch there. So you may be wondering, what does this do? Oh yeah, and I could add more up, you know, sticking out from here along this way, or out here from this way. But what does this do? This will create a pocket dimension. So if I flip this switch, it is gone. I have found it doesn't like moving some things. Flux points and the integrator dynamics systems do not get captured by it. So you probably should bring the, in this case, the barn back, remove these items, and then send it back into its own dimension. Because in that dimension, there are going to be like ghost blocks where these used to be. In fact, let's go take a look at that. So let's come back here, well, it turns it off. We have to come in here, and it's moved it to the output. Oop. So let's put it back in and power it. And the barn is back. Now here's the thing. I can come over here. I am now inside the zone. Flip the switch. Oh, I gotta move it back. Every time you do an operation, you have to move it back. And what happened? Oh, we don't have any power. I used up all the power that was in the batteries, but I forgot to actually give it a source of new power. Let it max out. So there you can see them all filling up. There we go. I already had one of these, actually. Let's put all this away. Pants back on. All right. So we are inside the zone. Flip the switch. We are in a new dimension, which always seems to be sunset. And I cannot... Well, I can go underneath, because I did capture some of the underneath space. I went a little farther than the edge of the platform, but this edge is a solid wall, as is this one. I cannot walk off. It's only this one where I caught a little bit more. I can't go any farther than here. So yeah, we're in an invisible box. I hit the ceiling right here. In the sunset, it's sort of nice. It's a little more open than the hyperboxes. And if we turn this on, we'll get to see if it works. And it doesn't. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I said spoiler alert after I did the spoiler. But if you look at the dimension biome name, it's Spatial Storage, which again, no mobs generate in spatial storage. This is, when I got this far, I realized, oh, I could do the ritual. I could set the ritual up right here and change the dimension. Actually, now I would probably go down here and do it so that it won't generate any island because it'll be down below the box. But, you know, I don't really need to change this one because I only need one barn. I really don't need the barn at all anymore, but I wanted to preserve it. I set this down so that I can get in and out of here. If I do a /home or use my temp pad, I set up this transmitter, so if I go into it, it should take me, yep, back into the hyperbox. So you can make, and I can set a transmitter in there that comes to this receiver. I just didn't. Oh, and I was going to show the invisible objects. Let's go back in there. So right on this side of this block is where the flux point was, and I'm standing on something invisible. There's an invisible block there. I don't think I can place anything there. No. I can place something here. I can't place something in that spot. So and then probably the same is true up in there where the cables are. So it's probably best to bring the barn home. Which we do by moving it back, giving it a fresh pulse. There it is. And just going in and taking out those parts and pieces that are problematic. Okay. Now it's probably safe to send to its own dimension. There it goes. So yeah, with this we could make many more hyperboxes that are a little bit bigger. They're 16 by 16 instead of the interior I think they're only 13 by 13 interior space. But this one will be a full 16 by 16 by 16. And you, like you said, you can make them smaller. If these aren't as long, then the actual space inside is smaller. But yeah, that's the basics of spatial storage in applied energistics. But we've got once I did that, I realized I can just go ahead and do the same thing in here. So now we've got all that we want, and I've got new piping here. I did change it a little bit. Instead of having the ender chest, I just have the chest, a regular chest up there. Well, not a regular, but and I can get a couple stacks of Wildenhorns, toss those in there. Those get dropped and tagged so they will not despawn by that orange thing. And whoop, there we go. We're getting Drigme shards. And each one of those will turn into one or more Drigme shards over time and build up in this chest. So we'll see. I think I put 4 stacks. Might come back later and see how many I end up with. All right, so we've done that. Let's do something that I said I might do, and that is chemistry. Alchemistry. Welcome to the chemistry lab. All right, so what have I got here? I have the wall of elements, and I've been busy filling it in, but I've left a couple of holes. I think there's 4 holes left, so I can show you how I fill it in. This wall is just atomic weights reference. So if I want to look in, over here, the boron, I have 256 of it, and it's not immediately obvious how many, what its atomic number is, but I can come over here and look it up as 5. And maybe I knew boron, but I may not know all the ones down here. So I just got to look up the proper spot. Like this one down here is 5th from the end. That's this one here. It's 99. So I know that I need to make 99 there. So how do I fill this in? All right, well, there's 2 ways. First, dissolvers. We can take some materials here like that. And what else might be good? There's some phantom membrane. Some fish. And if we look at the uses for these and go to the dissolver, we can see this one gets you iron, and silicon dioxide. Iron in the test tube is an element. And so it's going to get sent to the element wall. But this one is a molecule. It is a combination of multiple elements, in this case silicon and oxygen, which if we put it in looked at the dissolver for it, we get silicon and oxygen. Those are base elements. This one uses dissolver, gets you 4 composites here. Silicon dioxide, aluminum oxide, magnesium oxide, potassium chloride. Well, these 3 will give you aluminum and oxygen, silicon and oxygen, magnesium and oxygen, and this will give you potassium and chlorine. Oh, I'll get a bunch of things. Yeah, it wasn't. Oh, no, wait, that was the wrong use on this. There we go. Yeah, chlorine and potassium. Phantom membrane, just cerium, a 58 atomic weight. That's a nice one to get a heavier element. And tropical fish will get us protein, which breaks down to a whole bunch of basic, and selenium. So we can just pop these into these dissolvers, or I've got the drawers down below set to, well, they already got filled in. These drawers push into the space above from over here. So you can see that there's the bedrock wall behind there, so there's obviously no pipes. Well, these things all have the pusher upgrade, so they push up whatever they've got in them, those 4. If we go down below, I've got 4 entangled blocks with the 4 dissolvers. This is how they're getting their power in the front. And in the back, I'm piping out nearest first, and they all go to this controller access point. Now this one is just an access point to this controller here in the middle of the room. And that is set up to touch all of these. So all those are linked to it. So when the output from this goes there first, if it's an element, it gets stored in the element wall. If it's a compound, it comes up and goes into this controller, which is linked to all these 2x2 drawers over here. Also, from the top of it, it's outputting into the bottom of those 4 single drawers, these guys. So anything that appears in the wall will get cycled to these 4 and pushed into the dissolvers. It's just a little buffer that can see what's coming up next for each of them. And those all have downgrades too, so they only hold 1 stack. So you can see all these things have been turned into, yeah, it's already processed all the materials I gave it. It's now working on all the compounds that they made, and all the elements they made are already in the wall. We should see the oxygen going up. Well, they've got so much oxygen, it's hard to tell. And I've got some of the time torches here on a shelf to speed them up. If I did it again, I'd probably put these in a vertical stack, so I can surround them with 4 torches each, and then do all the piping through entangled blocks. I wonder if the time torch will work through an entangled block. I doubt it. I doubt it. Though now I want to try. I'm like that. Give me an idea, and I need to try it. Entangled block. Let's get one of those. Get 4 time torches. The entangler binder. So if I put this down here and entangle it to that one, put these around it. That actually seems to be going faster. Maybe not. It seems to be going the same speed as this one. Just this one seems a little slower. Yeah, okay, I didn't think this would work, but I wanted to see. All right, put that away. So anyway, that's how I can get a lot of the base elements from just melting stuff down. Not everything you own will be meltable, but a lot of the basic Minecraft items are, like this potassium nitrate dust. That actually is from the mod, so it would work. But this sulfur dust is from thermal, and you can see it doesn't have any signs, and so it probably, on uses, oh no, it can dissolve into sulfur, so that one works. So some mod materials will work. I doubt these have any plant-like. Yeah, they're not in the dissolver. Even though things like flowers would. So you just have to experiment. Like crimson iron, probably not. Nope. Alright, so that gets us only the elements that exist in materials. A lot of them do not exist in nature, and we have to make them ourselves. And there's two ways to do that. And that's what these patches on the floor here are, because if we go down below, you can see that they're part of a 5x5 multi-block structure. They have an input port, an output port, a power port. All those have to be along the edges or corners. They can't be in the face. But this block has to be in the middle of one face, not on the edge. So just above the edge, right in the middle. If you place it to the side, it will not form the multi-block. So it's got to be there. And then it gets its little dot. And because I broke the multi-block, I need to reattach my output over there. All right. So these, actually, let me go inside. Inside, they're hollow except for 3, in this case, fission cores. And in that one are 3 fusion cores. Oh, interesting. It didn't break it even though we went in. So I guess I can go in this one. Yeah, these have the fusion cores. Guess as long as you don't break the master block, it retains its multi-block even if you break it. It just won't run. All right, so you have inputs and outputs. Now I've got these 2 entangled blocks, which you can see that they're attached to the 2 drawers up above. Same with these 2. So the ones closest to the door are the inputs, and the ones closer to the outer walls are the outputs. This one takes one thing, splits it into 2. This one takes 2 things and fuses them into 1. So fission splits things 1 to 2, and fusion combines them. Now the fission isn't as useful. There may be cases where it could be useful. Like this spot right here is atomic number 75 is missing. I mean, this is how the elements, well, some of the elements were discovered. We knew that there should be an element for every atomic number, and though we hadn't found something, we knew that something with that atomic number should exist, and we went off searching for it. Right now we're trying to get up above 118, which is the highest. 120 is on the horizon. As far as 119, I'm not sure. I assume either we've found 119 or we'll find it when we do 120. I'm not sure, but we're working on 120. And then we'll have to rearrange this table. It's all nice and neat right now. As far as the numbering goes, start with 1 at there, and the top row, that's 2. then 3 and 4, 5, 6, so forth. These two spots, this single spot here is this entire row, top row, and this spot here is this entire bottom row, as far as numbering goes. So that's, if we look over here, 56, and then it jumps to 72. So 57 to 71, 57 to 71 goes there. And there's a number of different ways you can lay out the periodic table depending on what you want to emphasize. But this is the one you're going to see the most often. And I've done it by making a whole bunch of these 2x2 drawers and then covering it up with some of these various shaped framed blocks to isolate just the parts that I want to display. This is still going. I could speed up with the time in the bottle, but we'll just let it run for now. I don't need to use it anymore. So we're going to use these two guys. If we took something heavy like uranium and pop it in here, that sends it into the fuser, or the fission. You see it has an output, and it's generating 2 each time, but they're the same palladium, so they're going in here. Now it would be nice if we could use this palladium, well, not palladium, polonium is what I'm thinking. I wonder if we could do, this is polonium? Polonium, yeah. If there are uses for that, compactor, we can make a dust, we can make an ingot, but we can't make the version of polonium we need for mechanism. It looks like 16 of these will make a gas tier, which means if you melt down a gas tier, you get polonium. But the mod pack doesn't mix that polonium with the one we spent a massive amount of effort making using mechanism, because they wanted us to do mechanism. I can grant them that. Still, it's sad that we have 2 different poloniums. Alright, so that is coming along. Let's speed it up a little bit. There we go, 128. That's 2 stacks from 1 stack of uranium. Now, I've actually got it so that it will try and output from that drawer, and it will put it into the elemental storage, like that. So if I put these back, they'll go to the elemental storage. But I was disconnecting it just for the moment so you can see the outputs. So we can take a heavy element and turn it into 2 lighter elements. But the problem is we have lots of light elements from all our melting and not many heavy. Uranium is one of the few that's heavy. But we want to make something that's heavier than uranium. We're going to have to do some fusing. So right here we've got a hole, and right next to it I have a whole lot of tungsten. So I'm going to take a stack of tungsten, and what we want to do is we want to go from its atomic weight to the one above. And it's in the 3rd slot here, so that's at 74, and we want to make atomic number 75. So to go from 74 to 75, we add 1, which is hydrogen. So we will fuse hydrogen with tungsten, and we get rhenium. And if I go ahead and put the cable back over here, you see it's going to stay there because there's no place for rhenium yet. I need to tag it. Now it's going to go in there automatically. See, it flickers in the drawer, then comes over here. And we'll just let that run, and we've got a hole filled in. Now up here, we've got 2 holes right next to selenium. So if I add 1 and I add 2. So get some helium and some hydrogen. And we do selenium with helium. And let's speed it up. We get krypton. And if we do selenium with hydrogen, we get bromine. So the krypton goes there, and the bromine goes there, and that should fill it all up. Last, we have this slot down here. Now I'm trying to get at least a stack of every element. So I look next to it, and I've got 80 of the californium. Not enough to get a stack of this and still have a stack of that. So let's go, keep looking backwards. 64, 64. All right, uranium. Uranium is the last one that I have more than 64 of. So to get it up here, I need to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which if we come up here, well, we can look over here. Third in this row, nitrogen. Got tons of nitrogen. Pop that in there with the nitrogen. Neptunium. Did I calculate wrong? Oh. Why is neptunium in that slot? That's 93. No, that's right. Did I put... Oh, okay, it was still doing... It had some leftover hydrogen in it somehow. It was adding 1 to it. Now it's doing nitrogen. Let's even those up. Somehow I had 4 extra hydrogen in the system. I have a little trapdoor here so I can get at the storage controller. Alright, so that's making the missing one. Einsteinium. And actually, if it used some of the uranium with hydrogen, I need to make more so I have at least a stack. So Einsteinium. And that will fill in the board. And we've got all of the elements. It really wasn't that hard. It was just, doing a little bit of addition math to figure out what 2 elements I had plenty of that would add up to the missing one. And fusing them together. Meanwhile, breaking down raw materials over here. It's like that should be as going down there. It's almost done with the last of those. All right. That is alchemistry. And now, if we have time, maybe we can do a little bit more along the road to the ATM star. And no, now that I'm looking at the time, I think this is a good stopping point. 48 minutes in, or thereabouts. It's a little bit of editing. So we will stop here. I'll clean that up. I don't think I need to make... maybe I'll make a bunch of disks. Yeah. If I do... if I say make me 3 more of those disks. And I just come over here with nothing in the field there. Take that one out. Put that in. That is now... Well, no, I guess... I need to put in at least a receiver. So I can get in there. Receiver. And that is showing something that I don't have yet. Oops. There we go. 1, 2, 3 of those. And I'll just stick it here in the corner. And the power won't I can't put the power in there as part of it, but I can charge it up so it's got some power. And we'll call this one box 1. All right, it's charged. It is reset. Yep, go. So that's box 1. Put down another one. This will be box 2. Wait for that to be fully charged. And we'll do box 2. And one more. Box 3. I've never done this. Let's see if it's going to work out. All right, that one's ready. Box 3. Now let's label these so I know what's what. This is Spatial Cell Old Barn. Spatial Cell Box 1. Spatial Cell Box 2. If you don't do this, then they're all called the same thing and you have no idea what's in them. So I highly recommend naming your spatial storages. Toss that one away. All right, so we now should be able to go over to this thing. And if I get out my dialer, change the barn to I expected to see box 1, 2, and 3. These are probably them. Let's go to box 3. It's at least listed. Oh, I gotta say barn, box 3, dial. Invalid destination. What about this one? Nope. Nope. That one works. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. So let's mark the ones that work. Maybe I needed to go into, actually go to it once for it to work. Let's try that. So toss that in, bring it back. There it is. And we will be inside it this time. Oh. Reset. Go. Whoop, there it is. All right, so now if I go home and then come over here and say, there it is, box 1. Dial box 1. Nope, this is the barn. It sent us to the wrong one. So these 3 are the 3 transmitters here, and this one is called barn. Just, we'll call it any so there's no confusion. So we select any, box 1, which is spatial storage. Dial. Okay, there we go. Now it worked. So let's go home. And I guess I need to do that for each of them. Just need to go in there once, or need to actually see it. See the receiver. Okay, I gotta bring it back first. Should be down there. Yep. Alright. Charged up. Let's go. There it is. This is box 2. Alright. So now that we've been there, we should be able to dial it. Any to box 2 dial. And here we are in box 2. I presume. I should mark these. So box 2 has 2 blocks. Now let's do it for box 3. So bring it back. Go inside. Oh, I always forget to move it back. Go there. Oh, it's probably a chunk loading issue. Yeah. I would need to chunk load this. There we go. Oh, wrong chunk. Wrong map. There we go. That's the chunk we want to load. All right. And this is 3. Go home. So we probably will see that 2 is, or even 1 is no longer, well, that's okay with, seems to be okay with 1. This is 1, all right. Still, I would recommend doing a chunk load on it, just to be sure. But now I've got 3 more boxes I can use for storage, sort of like the hyper boxes, and put things in. I think that's sort of neat. And this is 2. Oh. And do the same chunk load I did for the others. Alright, so at the moment, I can only get to those 3 through this guy. Click that first, and then one of these 3 destinations, and I can get to it. So you can set this up, run it a few times to make those boxes, and you can tear it down if you know you're not going to need more boxes. But if you're playing a pack that just has AE2 and doesn't have hyperboxes, but you want to sort of have a similar feel, there you go, Spatial Storage. All right, and here we will wrap it up, and then next time we'll do the last 2 things, which is a little bit of Create, and then Occultism. I don't know why I've been saving that one for the last. I guess because it's being one of the magic mods, it doesn't really affect anything else, so no other mod was waiting for it. It can safely be done at the end, and that's, I guess, the way it's going to be. So, until next time, this is Nonsanity signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.